Hello everybody, welcome. I'm delighted to be with you today and to wish those of you who celebrate it happy Thanksgiving. It's a big festival, I know, in the United States and in Canada, I believe, and various other countries. And I thought that this was a wonderful opportunity today to come to be with you and for me to say thank you for you. Thank you to all of you who are coming online now, who watch my videos, who read my free newsletters, who come for readings, who comment, share, like. How fortunate I am to be able to be with you. So I thought I'd talk a little about the astrology of what's happening now, what's coming up, and how we can work together with these vibrations, with these energies. Because this is a time when people are thinking of Thanksgiving, a harvesting time, being grateful for what you have in your life. So I'd like to go to the deeper sense of Thanksgiving. We've got Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, all in Sagittarius right now. And Sagittarius has everything to do with generosity. A generosity of spirit, a generosity of giving, a generosity of embracing everything, not saying, oh, I'll just have this, or I'll just have that, or oh, I don't want that, I'll have that, but I don't want that, or I like this person and I don't like that person. Can we become more inclusive at this time of Thanksgiving? Can we be grateful for everything that's happening? That's a tough one, I know. Especially with a lot of the difficult and tragic things that are happening on our planet. But Sagittarius wants you, or has the energy, it's a fire sign, so we've got all this fire energy coming up. We've got a new moon in Sagittarius coming on December the 7th. So we're building up to all this fiery Saggy energy. And Saggy energy will affect you somewhere in your chart. You can't say, oh, I'm not a Sag. It doesn't matter, it's somewhere, it's in your chart. And it will be a place for you to grow into, to stretch into. So, what is it in your life? I mean, let's even think now, together. What are you grateful for? You know, as we're online together, let's see if we can create an energy stream of gratefulness. You know how it is when you feel grateful, you feel good, you feel uplifted. When you think of all the things in your life that you're grateful for, you start to think of more. It mushrooms, it blossoms. So, over to you guys. Well, I'll start it. You're grateful for children. Thank you, Catherine Louise. Let's bring a wave, a frequency. There is a frequency of thankfulness that creates healing, that creates magic, that creates unlimitedness. Sagittarius is all about removing the boundaries between us. Removing the thank you. Alaska Angelina is grateful for family, a roof over her head, food for your family, grateful for your little girls. Somebody's grateful for me. Thank you, gorgeous Almas. I'm grateful for you. Grateful for music, the people that you love. You see, let's create this dialogue. Let it grow. Because when you are in this frequency, you are unstoppable. There is nothing you cannot do, because everything about you is looking for that which you're grateful for. Yes? So really let's grow it. I'm grateful that I've learned to paint spontaneously. Kelly is grateful she lives by the beach. I too am grateful I live close to the seaside, here in Athens at the moment. I'm grateful for the internet that enables us all to connect like this, spontaneously. Indigo Butterfly is grateful to be alive. Grateful for health. Oh, this is great, it's coming through beautifully. Woo! This is exciting. Grateful for friends. I'm grateful for the little kitty that comes to visit me every morning and says hello and waits for her food. So we can just, the more of us that live from that frequency, the more quickly we're going to be able to transform our world into one which is joyful, because Sagittarius is certainly a joyful frequency. Somebody's grateful for a baby, Sophie, that you met today. Grateful for nature, for the planet, for your health. Yes, yes. Isn't it wonderful? You just, thank you. Grateful to hear me. I'm grateful to be with you. I'm grateful that you're online with me. So if we can create that energy, you will find that abundance automatically will flow in your life. Sag is about abundance. It is the planet of good fortune. Jupiter is in that sign all year coming up. So it is very much about us expanding upon the good fortune that we already have. And the more you do that, the more you extinguish all the little bits and pieces that bother you. They become diminished. If you're grateful that you can smile at people, I'm grateful that I can go on the street and smile at various people. Now, they don't all smile back, I have to say. But that's all right. I can smile at the trees. I can be grateful for the trees. Grateful for health, grateful for nature, grateful for finding yourself. Wonderful. Wonderful. Grateful for clothes, especially if it's cold. So, Mercury is retrograde until the 6th. Now, always during the Mercury retrograde is a wonderful time for reflection, for reassessing, and for being able to redo things that maybe you think you didn't do as well as you might have, and to change the way you react and respond to situations. All words beginning with RE are powerful at the time of a Mercury retro. Relaxing, rejuvenating, reconnecting. And you may have situations where you find yourself having to redo things, or where you have to come back and something you had hoped would happen doesn't happen the way you anticipate. Happened to me yesterday. I was all psyched up and set up and ready to have a tooth out, actually, and an implant that's not worked out very well. And so I knew for a long while that this was not quite right, but I thought, right, now's the time. And I thought the surgeon was ready, and I thought everything was ready. So I had taken the antibiotic an hour before, everything ready. I turn up at the surgery, and he said to me, I don't have enough, I don't have an up-to-date CT scan. I can't do the surgery today. Ah. Well, I had some options there. Thank you, Terence. Thank you for your generosity. So, What was my option? To get angry with him and say, ma, 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 or to accept and say, all right, can you send me now for a CT scan? Let me go and get it. Of course, it does mean that I couldn't have the surgery yesterday. I've got to have it next week. But when I reflected upon it and thought about it, I thought, okay, there's no point in resisting that situation. And maybe it's going to be even better, because actually having a surgery close to the full moon, because we've got the full moon coming up tomorrow or the day after, depending where you live, ideally it's better to have it after a full moon. It's better to have it on a waning moon, because research shows that there's less bleeding usually during a waning moon than when it's going stronger. So maybe it's working out for the best. And in the end, you know, he was a very sweet guy, nice surgeon, I love him. I ended up kissing him and saying, that's all right, Yorgo. I'll go and sort it out. Anyway, turns out, did the CT scan, called this morning, and he said, yes, I do see there's a problem with it, and it does need to be removed. So I feel somewhat vindicated, because I knew it needed to be removed because I know my body, but now we're in agreement. So I have a sense of peace, but I did have to redo something. So you may find yourself redoing things at this time, but having an opportunity to redo something in a calmer and more peaceful and gentler and kinder way. So if initially you might have responded with anger, maybe you'll respond with laughter, because there is a funny situation. So that's the constructive way to deal with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. The other thing with Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius is Mercury in Sag is known to be a talker, right? Yada, 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 yada. I have a wonderful friend with Mercury in Sag, and she talks. I love her to bits, but I get to say 3 sentences and she gets to say about 300 in one conversation. It's okay with me. She's very uplifting, but she does like to say it all, get it all out of there. Somebody with Mercury in Scorpio would say much less. Zipped up. So we've got Mercury in Sag now influencing the energies. And Mercury in Sag, when it's retrograde, may begin to think, what am I saying here? Is it interesting? I don't know what this is, but whenever I'm live, pictures seem to fall off walls. So obviously there is an energy being created here, or maybe this picture just wants to join in the frame, but there's movement happening. I'm hoping that when you are alive with me, or maybe when it's finished, that there is movement for you too, that something shifts in your life, because it shifts for me when I'm with you. I hope you like the new paintings. These are an expansion. So rethinking how you speak, how you communicate. Are you the one who wants to talk all the time? Or are you able to listen more? That's what this Mercury retro in Sag is about. Thank you everybody for kind feedback about the paintings. I'm just going with it. And for me it's such a joy to be with you in this moment, right here, right now. So we've got Sun, Mercury, Jupiter all together in Sag. So Sun, Mercury, sending hugs to you too. Hugs to you, Lyra. I realise I'm the one talking here. It'll be great one day, we'll have more interaction, but I'm thanking you for coming through on the chat. It's really lovely. I do see the comments, although they do flash by a little quickly. I am seeing them. So see if you are somebody who's usually a listener, whether you could be a little bit more of a talker and share more of your emotions and feelings. And maybe if you're a talker, perhaps you'll practice listening a little more and noticing before you speak. So maybe you have a friend, because I have a friend I call, who I usually ask her, how is she? It's always me saying, how are you? And she catches me sometimes. She says to me, no, I'm not starting this time. I want to hear, how are you? She changes the pattern. See if you can change the pattern that you have in your relationships, especially with people close to you. Turn it around. Wake them up. It's fire energy. It's time to wake up. Thank you very much, Isla. How generous of you. Thank you for contributing. Yeah, Sun and Mercury in Sag. So, with so much happening in Sagittarius and the Jupiter in Sag, globally we're probably going to see more issues to do with immigration, nations, borders, refugees, languages. We've got one world language, one that crosses all boundaries, and that is love. The language of love is understood without having to speak, without having to understand one another. Recently I was in Israel for a week, my first trip there, and I had no idea that most people, or it was my experience, do not speak English. English is about the fifth language. I would have been very well off with Russian. I struggled through with German a little, but English? So, and yet, in the post office, I got hugs from people. I found a way through. Didn't understand much, but there is a warmth and a love that can be expressed no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing. And if you express love in your art, in your music, in your being, it doesn't matter whether you're young or old or wrinkled, or whether you've got a funny nose, or whether you're fat or you're small or you're tall. It doesn't matter, because that frequency is what comes through. And there's craziness going on in this world. Let's face it, it's crazy. Some of the things that are going on are utterly mad. I mean, the whole situation with Brexit is chaos, is chaotic. Situations where putting up walls between one another and boundaries and more fighting. It's not innately, I think, what we're wanting on the deeper level. So Jupiter in Sagittarius is probably going to bring up more of these issues globally. How do we deal with our, how do we include everybody and not separate ourselves from one another? How can we do that? How can we be more kind to one another? Jupiter in Sag, kindness. Random acts of kindness. I'm not really saying anything new here, but what I'm wanting to do is with you create the frequency. Because if we create the frequency together, we change our lives. And you know, there's quite a few people online with us together today, and who will maybe be watching afterwards. That is an energy field that causes plants to grow more quickly, that causes a healing energy within the physical body, that causes creativity where we can create solutions to the big problems on our planet, so that there is nobody who is without food and water and shelter. So, yes, thank you, Mandolin. Let's join together energetically to bring our planet together with love and compassion and gratitude. This is Thanksgiving. Yes, we can change one another's mood. Being with you uplifts my mood. We're together. But I thought that this was an important day. We're just before the full moon in Gemini coming up. So we've got these energies of Gemini and Sagittarius. And another painting falling off the wall. You guys, I don't know what's going on. But something's happening that is beyond the physical here. And these paintings have sat there very happily for several weeks. And suddenly they're all crying out for some attention. So what in your life is crying out for attention that maybe you're not realizing? The mutable energies are about learning to flow with change. Seeing that you can flow in and out of things. Everything is not rigid as it may look or seem. Yeah. So, I am joyously wishing you a feeling of peacefulness, of love, of joy, of laughter. The peas want to say hi. Susan, hi. Yes, the peas. Well, of course, yes. I suppose it probably is the Pleiadians, yes. Yes, thank you for loving and hearing the Pleiadians. And there are many who are here who are helping. Many, many, many. If you just think about the miracles and the magic there is in being alive. It's miraculous. So, I've shared most of what I want to share about the astrology. If there's any questions, please ask them. I think I'm closing now with this video about Thanksgiving and the aspects coming up. And so for me it's a starry, starry night, and you're all stars in my eyes. So thank you very, very much for being with me. I'm very grateful for you. And I'll say bye for now.